Constitution Day may have been last Friday, but at the Center for Liberty and Learning, we are in a constant study and celebration of the Constitution. So for the next month, we are going to be discussing the Federal Convention and some notable debates that took place there, which produced the Constitution of the United States of America, and we are going to be discussing several notable Federalist Papers. We're going to do all of these different summaries of days at the convention and of Federalist Papers in less than 3 minutes. So tune in if you want to hear more in under 3 minutes about the Constitution. So the first question is, what happened on the first day of the Constitutional Convention? Well, the first day of the Constitutional Convention was May 28th, 1787, and this is anticlimactically where they came up with the rules. Well, the most interesting of these rules is that they will not let the press, the newspapermen, into the proceedings. So they're going to proceed in private, without the press, reporting to the people what they're doing. Well, the very first plan that's presented is presented the next day, on May 29th, 1787, and it's presented by a guy named Edmund Randolph from Virginia, and it becomes known as the Virginia Plan. The Virginia Plan had 15 different resolutions. We're interested in the first 9 of those resolutions because those are what become Articles 1, 2, and 3 of the U.S. Constitution, after they have some debate and they change some things about Mr. Randolph's plan. So what were these resolutions? Well, the first one is that the Articles of Confederation is going to be enlarged. That's the mode of revision. So the federal government's going to be bigger than what it was underneath the Articles of Confederation. The second is that the rights of suffrage in the national legislature should be proportioned to quotas of contribution and the number of inhabitants. So states will be represented on the basis of how big they are and how many people are in them. The third is that the legislature ought to have 2 branches. The fourth is that the first branch of the legislature, which we now know as the House of Representatives, is going to be elected by the people of the states. The fifth is that the second branch, which we now know as the Senate, is going to be elected by those out of the first House from a list of nominees presented by the state legislatures. The sixth resolution is that each branch of that legislature ought to be able to originate bills or acts. The seventh is that the executive is to be instituted. There was no executive under the Articles of Confederation, and the executive will be chosen by the legislature. The eighth is that the executive and a convenient number of people from the judiciary ought to compose a council of revision to look over the laws passed by the legislature and potentially veto them. The ninth is about the judiciary, and all it says is that a judiciary is to be established. This could be 1 or more supreme tribunals, the plan says. So this is the very first plan presented.